How is everyone today? Let's see. Okay, mic check. Let's see how that sounds. Looks like a lot of people are reporting good audio so far. Okay. This is why we always hesitate to get started, just to do a quick tech check. But my name is Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. It is August 27th, 2021. And let's go ahead and get right into it. So as we look at our SPY, and as we're getting into one of the larger earning weeks this week, so far market movement has been, April 27th, 2021. Apologies. As we get into the SPY this morning, the overall range has been rather tight. So what we're seeing is a lot of balance in the SPY. There hasn't really been momentum in either direction. And with yesterday's price action, we really don't have a ton to analyze because the range is so compressed. Some notes that we can take forward today. We are sitting at this upper all-time high range. The market so far has not seen any downside action to backtest our lower end of the range. We do have a lot of bullish context with a lot of our moving averages sitting below us. And we have things like exponential moving averages. I've gone ahead and added the 12 exponential moving average to the daily chart here. And we can see that that is currently being respected. So when it comes to trending action, the market continues to be in this nice uptrend. We have not seen any sort of red flags with moving averages starting to be broken or tested significantly. And overall, market is in sort of a holding phase as we come into a volatile earnings week. So with the SPY, I'm gonna just kind of leave it as is, because the overall price action doesn't really allow for much analysis outside of what we have already discussed. And the thesis here is similar as we get into our Qs. We see that this lower range is being held up by some amount of exponential moving average support, albeit not as perfect as the SPY. We do see that amount of respect. We have this range that formed, and we are starting to get a little bit outside of the range to the upside. So as we saw one of our first large market cap names come out with earnings yesterday, Tesla, some of that price action was dictated in the intraday action of the Qs, and that led to a little bit of a range breakout inside of the Qs. Now, where we stand, we are still not at all-time highs. So the range here still has a little bit of resistance to get through. But overall, the structure of the Qs remains bullish. We have some notable areas of resistance if the market were to curl up into an all-time high. And those come in the form of things like this daily trend line. And then if we get into this extended area of the market, we have this sort of condensing rising wedge. If we get into this area, we'll see if that range starts to compress even further, which could lead to a larger, more volatile move in the sessions to come. But overall, Qs structurally remain bullish. There's currently no warning signs yet of any sort of levels lost, but we're also seeing a little bit of a drift to the upside. So not a lot of huge momentum moves as of yet. And you can see that the volume is kind of dictating some of that, as it has been slightly lower than in the past sessions where the market was a bit more volatile. And finally, IWM, a notable breakout yesterday. We had this structure here where we had a clear resistance area. We did get above that area to the upside on yesterday's action. And what was significant about that is we did see that bullish structure. We saw the attempt to break out and a fail, which led to a double top resistance. We held the market here, nice engulfing structure. And then overall, since then, we've had some decent upside action leading to the breakout. We talked about how this structure came off of the weekly, as we did get a test of the 20 moving average on the weekly. And now, once again, we're sitting in a relatively bullish context across multiple time frames, albeit a little bit extended, and that's pretty much true for the entire market. So overall, indices are still looking strong. We still have a lot of upside momentum, and the market is easily able to move higher from these prices in the midst of an earnings week. So what do we do as traders as we get into earnings, and how can we start to anticipate the volatility and what's known as the expected move of a lot of these larger market cap stocks? We'll start off with an example, and in this example, I am going to delve slightly into some of the options markets. I'm going to go ahead and just make a broad assumption that people understand the basics of options, and I won't go into too much detail of how options work or too much detail about some of the metrics that I'm going to be showing, but I will use this information to show how you can get a sense of directionality and volatility amidst an earnings cycle or amidst some sort of weekly, monthly series. And if you're interested in learning just some fundamental information, we do recommend, we do have a couple of fundamental courses inside of Variable Traders. So please go ahead and check those out if you are able to do so. So let's look at Tesla. Tesla did report earnings after market yesterday. And as we dig into the shorter time frames, we can see that Tesla throughout the earnings cycle started to expand its range. The earnings came out, more information was available to the market. The market was attempting to price in this information. And so far, the reaction has been slightly negative, as Tesla has sold off slightly into this pre-market session. We are sitting below yesterday's range, and just overall, the price has dropped somewhat from some of the lead up into earnings. Now, with that said, if you were someone who was interested in either trading Tesla or having some sort of expectation of whether or not Tesla can move a certain percentage, certain price amount on its earnings, one way you can look at the market to gauge some of this information is to go to the options. I'll go ahead and start here. So within Thinkorswim, If you're on the trade tab and you're under the all products subtab, you will see technically multiple sections, but if you open up the option chain accordion, drop down, you will see multiple series of options that can be traded inside of Tesla, all with their own day 2 expirations, all with their own repetitious cycles. There'll be weeklies or monthlies, and all with their own things like implied volatility and what's known as expected move. When it comes to earnings, you will often hear a lot of times that the options market will start to increase in volatility as traders, speculators, people who hold positions in the underlying stock, and just overall market participants are trying to define risk. They're trying to speculate on some sort of price movement. They're trying to trade the actual earnings event, either leading into it or shortly thereafter. And all of this will essentially increase the interest of the underlying in the options market, which leads to volatility as more and more people are saying it'll go higher, it'll go lower, risk is here, risk is there. All of this starts to expand the prices as more and more participants are active in the market. So you can think of this just like a stock, where if you have more and more participants saying buy, sell, back and forth, supply and demand, that'll increase the likelihood of the range of that stock. The daily range, the intraday range will expand as more participants are trying to dictate where value sits. Is it higher? Is it lower? The battle will just sort of dictate who's winning and who's losing. And that's the same concept applies to the options market. What's interesting about the options market, however, is there are mathematical models and ways to utilize this information to showcase what this market expects the movement to be. And when you have something as straightforward and I guess defined as earnings, you can use this information as sort of a gauge as to whether something will move within a certain bound, a certain standard deviation of expected movement, or if it gets outside of that, that is a larger than expected move. If it stays within, it is a smaller than expected move. And this is just a very simple approach to deciding whether that amount of risk is worth your positional allocation. If you're going into earnings and you think that a stock can move, let's say $10 higher or lower, but the option market says it can move 15, then you might not necessarily be as prepared for the expected move as you might think. Even though the chart and the technicals would say otherwise, the option market actually says technically it could move 15, and that would still be a normal expected move. So how do we find this expected move? How do we understand what the options market is trying to price in? One of the simplest ways to do this is to look at the series that the earnings cycle is under. So for Tesla, it was the closest series. And because we had earnings on Monday, the expected move was showcased inside of the Monday, before close pricing inside of the April 30th series. And as we open this up, what we will see is we have calls and puts, calls on the left-hand side, puts on the right-hand side, all of the different strikes, which are simply different price points and areas of interest. All these strikes right here. I cannot draw a straight line, but strikes here, calls on this side, and puts on this side. As we get into the strikes that are very close to the current price of Tesla's stock. These are called the at the money strikes. Now, there's always going to be a little bit of a deviation unless you're sitting exactly on something like 720 at the price. But overall, you know, within one or two strikes are going to be your close to at the money or at the money strikes. And when you look at these from the call and the put perspective, one way to get a sense of how far Tesla can move inside of its current series is to look at something called the strangle. So if we are to, for example, buy the call that is close to the current bid of Tesla, which is about 721 at this moment. And I said it wrong. I hesitated. It is the straddle. I am sorry. I always get those confused. Straddle, which is essentially just buying a call and buying a put, or selling a call and selling a put. Technically, it doesn't matter if you're the buyer or the seller, but it is the buying or selling of the same call and same put at the same strike. So for this example, what I'm showing is the at the money straddle for the current series that we are in closest to earnings. And what this is showing is there is a price to purchase the call and the put. This price is roughly $56 at this moment. The options market is closed. The prices will readjust shortly, but this should be a pretty close representation from yesterday's session. So shortly after earnings. So, you know, mid price about 56, natural price about 57.30. We'll call it 56.5 just for example's sake. This price is roughly what the options market is expecting Tesla to move throughout this series. And that is because the option market is typically a very efficient market so long as it is highly liquid. And the option market participants and the model that dictates option pricing will attempt to define the expected move based on at the money calls and puts. And then from there, the prices will deviate with some sort of standard deviation model based on multiple metrics, things like the Greeks and some of the other volatility metrics that revolve around sort of supply and demand. You'll hear things like skew and just IV deviations on calls and puts. But overall, what we're looking at here is the straddle at the money for Tesla in the current series is showing an expected move of about $56 to $57. This is also information you can garner inside of Thinkorswim on the series itself. So if you're ever unsure whether or not you're doing this correctly inside of Thinkorswim specifically, look at your straddle and see whether the price is very close to, if not near, this calculated expected move, which does factor in a little bit more of the supply and demand model of where high volume, high open interest exists inside the series. So it's a little bit of a more complicated calculation, but the very simple way to look at this is at the money straddles. Now, what does this mean for us as traders, us going into earnings? How can we use this information? Well, what we're saying is if the option market is expecting a $56 move inside of the underlying that we're about to consider trading into earnings, that means that if you as a trader are not prepared for at least a $56 move inside of Tesla, or potentially whatever the $56 move inside of Tesla dictates for the SPY and the Qs and whatever index you're considering trading during that time. If you're not prepared for that type of price movement, then overall, technically the option market says this is the capacity for Tesla to move. And what a lot of newer traders may not consider is that, yes, the technicals may say that this is a level, this is a pattern, this is momentum, you know, everything points in one direction. It's all directionality based a lot of the time. But the options market is saying a slightly different story. It's saying there is new information entering the market. Market participants are preparing for this information shift. And due to that information shift and due to the supply and demand models of the option market, this market expects at least this much movement in the course of one binary event. Technically, this series expires on Friday, so Tesla, once again, still has the propensity to move the additional, you know, X number of dollars both to the upside or the downside. It is a non-directional bias. But the range that we can take from this is that we have a $57 range to the upside or the downside on Tesla during earnings. And what's great about this is it keeps us prepared. It lets us know that overall, this particular stock can move, you know, it's a $720 stock. It can move about $57. The earnings alone can move it 8%. And that would still be a normal movement inside of Tesla. We can then look at other things like, for example, one that's coming up later today, Microsoft. And we can say, okay, Microsoft is currently trading at about $262. If we buy the straddle at 262.50, the closest at the money strikes that we can find, we see that Microsoft is pricing in roughly an $8.50 move. And this is very close to the calculated value that Thinkorswim is providing, about 8.78. We can also look across the board and see if Microsoft were to stay flat for this session, and we'll look at something like volume and open interest. Volume is the volume on the daily of the intraday time frame, so you won't see any volume at this point because we haven't traded at all today. But open interest is a number of active contracts that the market still has open. So high volume nodes or high open interest nodes can sort of show you where market participants are placing risk. And you know, that risk is both to the upside or the downside. But Microsoft has the ability to move about $8 inside of this series based on the expected move. We see that if we shift down from 262 to about 255, we do have some decently high open interest. Maybe a little bit closer to 250 is where it actually starts to grow. We'll see that here. And then if we scroll down, we actually see that 270 is a large, whoopsies, delete that. We see that 270 is once again another large open interest node inside of Microsoft. So far, not a lot of puts have traded there. It's actually pretty highly skewed to the call side. But what this is showing is that not only is the option market's model saying that the expected move is $8.50 higher or lower, but actually some of the open interest is confirming some of that range where you have a large amount of risk placed at 270. You have a large amount of risk placed to the call and put side on 250 and maybe a little bit at 255, which is the actual expected move. So all this information comes together and basically shows us that regardless of what the chart says, regardless of the ability for this stock to move intraday up and down with ATR and just general technical analysis that we use throughout each and every session. When you get into earnings, things do change. Market participants are using derivative products, mostly options, to dictate expected move. And when that expected move is hit, or when you stay inside of that expected move, it is a normal price movement that the market anticipated, regardless of how volatile we may think it is. Tesla is showing about $57. If it had shot down $57, that would have been expected. And overall, if we stay within that range, also expected. Microsoft's only showing about $8. So for a $262 stock, a movement of $8 is only about, at most, a 3-4% move. Whereas Tesla, a $720 product, moving $60 would be about an 8% to 9% move. And that just shows the amount of volatility and the difference in volatility of the expected move for Tesla compared to something like Microsoft. They all have their own sort of ability to move at different percentages, and based on their market cap, based on how large of a company they are, that can also dictate how much the index can move. So as we've gotten through Tesla's been a pretty volatile, a relatively volatile expected move earnings announcement, but it hasn't moved quite as much as expected yet. So the ability for it to continue and test those ranges is still within the cards. It's still a possibility throughout the remainder of this week. And we are using it for earnings, but technically you can do this type of analysis on any series, as long as the market's liquid enough for it to actually kind of keep your spread tight and your bid and ask tight. You can look at farther series and still get an idea of how far does the market expect this to move based on supply and demand models. So if we look at the 14 May, we can see things like Microsoft, even after earnings, about $13. And we'll look at our at the monies again, and we're seeing about 11.5 to 12.4. So overall the at the money is a little bit off compared to this model. The volatility is a bit elevated due to earnings, so this may actually come down slightly and more closely match the straddle price. But overall, the numbers are close. It's mostly just a range, and as the market opens, we may get a better sense of the actual range. But this analysis can be done outside of earnings. The idea here is that as we get into earnings, we talked extensively on yesterday's session about if you're allocated and if you have risk in this market, be prepared for this type of expected movement inside of these larger market cap names. Because as we get through the week, each of these will dictate sort of the overall directionality and volatility of the market as we get through each and every earnings cycle. So is it possible to scan for large Yes, there are scanners that you can build or are available online that look for high IV, high expected move ranges relative to ATR. You can sort of customize your scanner based on that. So, but overall, I just wanted to provide this perspective, and regardless of your option level experience, hopefully I've shown how this can be very simply put together, where if you're coming into earnings or you're coming into a binary event, go into the option chain, look at the series that is surrounding the binary event, or just in general, if you're looking for expected move, go into that series, look at something like the at the money straddles, or look at the expected move calculator, and see what the market actually expects the movement to be. Very often we will stay within it. It's normally a 1 standard deviation type movement. So think about If you're going back to your high school mathematics days, you're thinking about a 3% expected percentage to stay inside the expected move. There are times when we breach it, and that's fine. The market likes to try and pull that price back into that range throughout the course of the week. But if we expand it, we'll get a 2 standard deviation move. You'll hear about larger than expected moves. And then obviously, the further you go, the more likely that the market has to adjust its risk model because it thought the movement was going to be, let's say, $10. You get to 20, that's a 2 standard deviations, getting a little extended. And then if you break even further, the market has to adjust its risk. And that's when you'll see these large expected moves like 3 standard deviations, a lot of hedging activity. It's very challenging to kind of foresee how far the market will take it, both to the upside or the downside. But that is a lesson for another day. I think overall this is some good things to carry forward into this week. We'll actually look at this a little bit more maybe as we wrap up this week. And let's go into Tuesday with some of the earnings that have come out. We have things like Triple M. I think UPS reported, LLY, I believe. And then there's a couple of other names coming out this afternoon. So stay prepared, stay safe, know what your expected moves are, and come into this market with the right allocation and the right hedges to protect yourself. So my name is Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. Trade safe. Take it easy.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Pre-Market Prep. I hope everyone is having an amazing morning. Hope you had a great day yesterday. Good morning, Norm. Hope you're feeling better today, brother.
Hey, good morning, brother. I am doing much better. Hopefully you're doing all right. Missed everybody yesterday. Glad to see everybody, and you. Hope you're doing well.
Excellent.
Look at that slick haircut, man.
Yeah, man.
You're looking smooth.
I had to. I was getting a little comfortable, man. My wife's like, "Come on now, come on." COVID is half over here. So, all right, guys, let's get to it. We had a very interesting day yesterday. Let's start here with Mara, since we have that one up already. Let's bring in our 5-minute, and that would be right around here. There we go. So here's a pre-market action. Again, it was active. Bitcoin is up quite a bit, so a lot of those were in play. Riot, CAN were all in that gapping up list yesterday. Pre-market action was okay. At the open, I took this trade, and I actually thought that this level we had here was the pre-market high at the time of the open. And it probably was at one point, but it really was great support, this 35.48. So either way, it turned out to be a good trade, guys. Beautiful continuation all the way up to 36 here. So 36.30. So very nice pop. Then from there, it collapses. It became a good short as well below the VWAP here. You can see how nice this thing drops here. The beautiful continuation on Mara. yesterday. Again, this stock doesn't trade very well, but yesterday was great. I know yesterday they also had a new CEO, so maybe that helped things be a little smoother. Who knows? We had OCGN on our list as well. Man, this was not good at the open. It was really all over the place a little bit here. It did try to get going. I saw people take a couple of trades here. They did very well on some quick scalps. But again, for me, this was not easy to trade. It does get better later down the line. You can see the candles are a little bit wider, a little bit more of a continuation, but the open was rough on OCGN. Let's look at plug. This was a real good one, guys. I missed this one, unfortunately. Look at the hesitation getting above this 2880. You do get this one initial pop and then the slam down, and this thing never looks back. An amazing opening range breakdown on the 5-minute, beautiful continuation on the 1 minute, several reverse ABCD patterns on there as well. And then just look at down here, finding some support eventually and a beautiful pop-up. Nice ABCD pattern here off the VWAP and a great continuation. So again, we just had a lot that was nice on plug yesterday. I'm surprised that I did not take a trade here in any of these opportunities, but traded very, very clean. Definitely one of our favorites yesterday. Here was Neo, the beautiful breakdown as well. Did give you this pop. And the interesting thing on Neo at the start, you do get this one candle where it sells down, sells back up, and it looked like it was going to be strong. And then the next candle just completely engulfs everything, including the wick. Just it erases the entire previous 5-minute, and just look at the beautiful short here. So if you got caught off guard here towards the long side, got stopped out or took a short partial, hopefully you was able to see things clearly here and reverse direction quickly. And you can see a beautiful drop here on Neo yesterday. Does recover nicely, similar to plug. You can see here goes up to the VWAP. Find some supports, find some buyers, and just takes off nicely. And look at this level we had here, guys, 42. That was our pre-market high, and look how that comes into play at the morning, the mid-morning here, around 11:30 or so. I'm sorry, 10:30. Resistance, finally a breakout and a beautiful continuation on Neo there. AMD was just insane, guys. So very strong at the open here at the pre-market. It had a couple of nice moves there. Then at the open, it just slams down. It starts happening right before the market open. And you can see here that the first candle completely drops. You get this beautiful engulfing candle here. It's not perfect. It's not to the T, but it does engulf the previous candle. And then just look at this, guys. It goes up right to this 83.76 level that we had, high of the pre-market, pull back to the VWAP, and then just take off. Never looked back. So AMD was amazing. This was a really good start for AMD. Later down the line, didn't do much. Just kind of got stuck within this range. But aside from that, had a perfect open. Apple was rough. Apple was rough at the open. Never really looked good. So again, I didn't pay close attention to the price action. But again, we've seen better days from Apple. And then we did have one here that we actually kept a very close eye on in our chat room was Envis. This thing was just incredible, guys. Envis yesterday popped off really nice out of the gates. Brian took a couple of trades in here that turned out pretty good. And then later in the day, you get another move towards the close, another breakout here. It doesn't do much between the middle of the day here. Towards the end of the day, get a breakout. And then, guys, look at the after hours. Looks like people were just waiting for this thing to close. And we were talking about this in our chat room, John and a couple of others. It just goes $3 moves right after the close here. Goes to 26 all the way up to 29.66. So Envis definitely in play today. Already 7.6 million. We'll look at that next after we take a look at a quick overall look of our market this morning.
You know, man, Jared done a pretty good job this morning, but you just pulled up the one thing that, first of all, it looks like I missed a pretty decent day yesterday, which, that's all right. It happens. Yeah. I had no choice. That is a hell of a daily we got. Mm-hmm. That looks like Roku when you and I were having a love triangle with Roku and
foaming out the mouth. I remember that.
Yeah, I mean every morning when it would set up like this, that's intriguing. We break that 420, it's gonna be a little bit of a party, I think. So. We're sitting here, obviously, right up against all-time highs. That is an encouraging chart to break through. I am a little bit out of it. I have literally been in bed for 3 days. So did not pay a whole lot of attention to the market yesterday. We've got a home price index at 9, consumer confidence at 10. See how the rest of the week goes.
So we'll definitely see how it goes here, guys. All right, let's get to it, guys. Let's look at our watch list this morning, at our gappers list. Let's get rid of our levels, our watch list here, and put in new rows. Let's see what we got going on. So yesterday we had nothing in the rest. I think just one stock, GSX. But today we got a little bit more this morning, and some obviously in our green area. So let's start here. ALDX, at the moment they are up 21%, 21.7, 2.3 million shares traded. What's the float on this? 46 million. Daily looks a little bit all over the place. Volume is a little bit lighter than usual. Today already they're trading more than what they do on a regular basis. So it could be a difference maker there. I don't like this one as much as I would like. I mean, the volume is good. It's up 21%. But the pre-market action, you could tell here, there's a little bit of a choppiness. Just not as clean as we're used to seeing this type of price action for stocks at this price around 13 or so. And the daily is not looking any good neither. So I'm going to put it as a possible. I know a lot of stuff looks great there, but I'm going to put that as a possible for now. Not sure that any catalyst.
Yeah, they had positive phase 3 results on a treatment for allergic conjunctivitis. Eye stuff. So
okay, gotcha. All right, we'll take a look at it. Let's see if that's going to be something that's going to be tradable and it's going to trade well. Again, I'm not really a fan of the pre-market action. Definitely not a fan of the daily right now. GMBL. This one's what is this, gamble? What is this? Esports. Okay, something about gambling, of course. Pre-market action now starting to get going. Only 225,000. It is up 21%. It is a lower flow stock at 12 million shares. So we're going to put it down here. Looks like it's just starting to get going. We'll give it a little more time, guys. Let it get settled in here. We'll come back to that one. TIRX, another low flow at 3.9, and this one does not look. Look at the daily on this. Oh my god, the daily went from 86 to 17.
Yeah, that's some scary stuff right there. I saw that one earlier. 2 million share float. They had, I believe that was maybe on a secondary when that dropped. I know they had a secondary earlier this year. A bit of a pop this morning, but that's a scary daily chart.
Yeah, I don't like.
No, that's not on their secondary. Their secondary, from what I'm seeing, was in February, so I don't know what caused that. Maybe Chinese regulation or something like that.
And I don't remember seeing this one on our list. I don't know. I'm not gonna go back and look at the intraday to see how this happened. It might have happened during the day or after hours. Who knows? Either way, it doesn't look pretty. Their daily, not great. Pre-market action, again, I'm on the fence on this, especially with the way this chart looks and it being a 3.9 million shares flow. I'm gonna skip on this one for now.
It gets better. Finviz has it even lower than that, I think, at like 2.5 or something. So
yeah, that looks like a disaster there. DMTK this morning, they are up 15%. 15.9 to be exact, 100,000 shares traded. So they got a little volume here going. They're sitting at 23 million shares flow, so kind of borderline low flow there. Their volume, if you look down here, is not great neither on their daily. Hence their daily not looking great. Also on top of that, as far as the price action, I'm on the fence on this one. I think we'll skip it. I'm really want to see some good stuff today, especially with the way the market is trading. We want to see some solid tickers in here this morning. Here's SAVA, and they are up 12% this morning. Now, we know we traded this one before in the past. We know it can be very explosive. Has not been in our gappers list that I can remember in a very, very long time. And the volume is very light on this one. If they can get volume, they can actually run. We have 8 million here. You got a little bit of a pop there. So on the fence on it. The pre-market action's not all that exciting. Volume is too light. We'll come back to that one if it gets better. Cross here, also gapping up 11%. This looks nice on the daily for the breakout, though. I think we looked at this before. It could be a hit or miss. Let's see. Volume is very light as well. Let's put it on here for now. We'll come back to that one. GameStop is up 9.5 this morning. So nice. This one, 274,000 shares traded. Looking good this morning as far as the pop. It started last night, looks like here. So not sure what kind of catalyst we have here, or is
secondary.
It just as a secondary?
So
finally.
Yeah. It was on news of their secondary. They might have already announced. I can't remember, but the interesting thing about this, usually a secondary causes the price to drop. Occasionally, you have an outlier like GME, which was kind of a distressed business with some debt. And to give a very high-level overview, companies raise money through equity, which is stocks that we're trading, and then through debt, right? And they borrow it and they're paying it off. And the debt holders are first in line to anything shall the company go under, bankruptcy, they liquidate assets. You're not going to have dollar for dollar for all the money owed. So the debt gets paid first. And then if anything is left, which rarely I've ever seen, then the shareholders might get a portion of that. They very rarely ever do. So when you have a lot of debt and you come in and pay it off with money that you've raised through a secondary, the market tends to sometimes like that. It happened with Tesla. Some people bitched a long time ago about Tesla doing a secondary, and they came back and paid off a ton of debt and put themselves in a much better financial situation. So as the turnaround story continues with this, or the attempts to, it makes sense why this is kind of floating,
positive, right.
Swimming against the flow there.
Yeah, makes perfect sense, guys. So we'll keep an eye on GameStop. Let's see how this is going to change things around for them, if it is at all. So we'll keep an eye on them. They're up 9.6. I'm gonna put as a possible because we know how GameStop can be, right? Here's a UPS. UPS, wow, up 8.2 this morning, 289.
Killer earnings.
Nice. Now, guys, the only reason I'm putting UPS as a secondary is because I hope to find something better. UPS normally does not trade very well. Today could be the difference maker with their
NYSE. It can be difficult.
Yeah, it can be very tough, even with such a great catalyst and up 8.3. I know you must be thinking we're crazy, but you trade long enough, you start to learn how these stocks move, even when they have a certain type of catalyst. Here's Wish, and Wish right now, Wish they look better on this pre-market. So again, not great, not clean at the moment. They're up 5%. Only 118,000 shares traded, but again, I'm not seeing anything great on it right now. So we'll come back to that. All right, we have a whole lot here, but we haven't seen anything that looks, explosive just yet. CHPT, I know the EV stuff has been bouncing back a little bit. I think these guys make batteries, if I remember correctly. They're up 4%, 885. Again, just pre-market. I'm gonna have a lot of possibles today. Pre-market could be okay. We'll see. TLRY starting to get moving here. So this looks good. This could be some good potential here. I do like the daily breakout here above 18, right? So we've just been consolidating between 18 and 16.14. We're getting a nice little pop here to break kind of away from that this morning, up 3.8, 236. So I'm going to add our first onto our main list, guys, here. TLRY looks decent. If we have any catalysts on that one, that could be interesting. NNDM. We've seen this one before, guys. Again, I do not like the way this one trades. Had a good day yesterday, seems like. Let's go back and take a look how that was. And looking at it's actually traded very clean yesterday, guys, without seeing the specific of the price action. Didn't have a great pre-market, but look at the pop here. So that looked decent. Maybe I don't, maybe a possible. I think that's the best thing we could do for that. All right, Mara. So we know Bitcoin has been coming back a little bit lately. They've been doing pretty good. Mara is up 3.1, 406. This was good yesterday morning, so I'm going to keep another eye on it again. And also with the market ripping here, if we break out, I expect Bitcoin and some of these plays to take off nicely. With that said, I'm going to stop here and what's gapping up. I'm going to look at some of the ones that we know can move well with the markets. NEO is one of them. I'm going to keep an eye on them here. And we also talked about Tesla yesterday, guys, but Tesla was brutal. You guys see Tesla yesterday? It did not trade well at all. NEO was a lot better. This was Tesla yesterday. Just complete chop here. I never seen it in a long time trade like this. So that was a little bit strange. Did they have earnings or something last night? Because that's why. Okay. That makes sense. So it looks like nothing was going on the entire day into earnings, and then you can see that I'm looking at it now, looking at the action after hours here. So how are they looking this morning? They could be interesting actually this morning. Then let's see how those earnings are going to play out for Tesla today. All right, see what's gapping down, guys. NSP are down 17% this morning, but they're pretty much ripping back. They were down probably 30 or 40% here, but they're coming back this morning, as you can see, trying to get above a green from $1 to 610. So again, I just do not like this pre-market action. I do not like this daily at all. This looks a little bit concerning. I'm gonna stay away from this one, guys, for now. RVPH, no good, guys. Look at the pre-market action all over the place. The dailies all over the place as well. Low flow stock at 5.7. we need a better pre-market action with some good volume, and we're not seeing that there this morning. OCGN's looking pretty active today, 3.57 million shares float. I do like this daily here for possible loss of this, maybe a continuation towards the bottom. They are extended, obviously, going from 7 to 14 back to 10 here. Let's see, are they going to find support here or drop this morning? So I like OCGN the way they're setting up now, and I love the volume on it as well. Here's Laser. They are up down 3.2, 110. Not a great pre-market action. We'll skip on it for now. MT's a foreign stock, doesn't trade very well. We'll skip on that one. LLY is not looking any good here. Tesla we do have on deck, and also SKLZ. This one had a good day yesterday, it looks like. Let's take a look. Yeah, had a nice day yesterday, SKLZ. This morning they have 970, so they got great volume. Interesting daily here. We're holding towards the top of this resistance from yesterday. Are we going to go back into the green here, start ripping? So let's keep an eye on it for now. We can always make changes later. So, all right, that is what we have so far. Norm, I know you've been out of touch a little bit here, but do you have anything you like this morning?
No, I'm still looking around, buddy. I'm just trying to get my dip my toes in here and see if there's anything I can find.
Excellent.
Trying to get my bearings again, if you will.
Yeah, no, I hear you 100%, 100%. All right, let's start with Green Genie here. You have Envis this morning. Yeah, I think they are definitely in play, guys. We saw some crazy pops on this yesterday, even after hours, hitting that 20. Was it? Well, no, that was this morning. 29, I think they hit it. Yeah, after hours, hitting this 29 right over here. That's the high after hours. The high from yesterday over at 28. So already, guys, 8.7 in the pre-market. What's the flow for this? Envis, what do we have here? It is okay, it's not a low flow stock, but again, you still want to be very careful with this one. Definitely on our list. I think they're in play today, up 1.7. Let's see if they can maintain this strength they have here, guys. Again, we know this thing is very, very extended, hitting all-time highs here, because last time we were up here, it was around 24, their highest peak here. So we'll see. Let's see how this plays out. But beautiful pre-market action, great volume on this one this morning. So heading down, what do we have? So that's that one. Let's take a look here. Neo, we do have OCGN, we do have UPS, we do have, so that's good. RVPH, you know, we looked at that one. I didn't like the way that one looked, so I think we kept it off, right? Yeah, we kept it off for now. Tesla, we do have. GE, anything going on with GE this morning? They are active. They got 4 million shares traded, GE. But again, it's GE, exactly. And if you're new and you're thinking, what does that mean? It's just, it doesn't trade well.
They had earnings this morning, so there's a catalyst, but it trades. Right. You can't find a worse trading stock, I don't think.
No, not for day trading. This is brutal. It doesn't move at all. So we'll skip on that one. mRNA that has a catalyst. What's going on with mRNA? They don't look like it. They usually trade better with catalysts. So it might not be all that strong of a catalyst. Who knows? That could change. But right now they're up only 0.5% right now. Their daily does look interesting, very extended here. But I gotta tell you guys, mRNA has become a very, very difficult stock to trade. It was in the past. It was still difficult, but it was slightly better. I think it was more manageable. The price action on this thing is all over the place at the market open. So I tend to stay away from it. Their daily does look very nice here, guys. We're slamming up against an area of resistance for a possible breakout. That could be interesting, but for the most part, again, it just doesn't trade very well. At least for me. SQ this morning, pretty light right now. I see what you're looking at. This daily does look great. Possible continuation. I do like that quite a bit. But the volume is very light right now. So this could be a good one, guys, if it hits the scanners. We hit this on the scanners a couple of times. That could be good. And I'm going to look at Apple because we know Apple is a good one, guys, to keep an eye on. We have some levels that might still be good here. I'm just going to get rid of this 134.76. We don't need that now. But if you look at it, the rest of the levels are pretty good. 136.36 and 137.85 that we did yesterday. We're still hanging out above this area of resistance, guys. So let's see if the market continues to just rocket here above that 420. I expect Apple is going to make some really nice highs here and trade very well on top of that. So I'm going to keep an eye on Apple. AMD, just an amazing day yesterday, guys. Let's remove some levels. Yeah, possible continuation. I think AMD has been seeing a couple of strong days here. So yeah, I actually do like AMD this morning. We'll take a look at that. Apple, we do have AMD is good, guys. Yes, Apple's daily. Amir agreed 100%. CCIV, yesterday this thing was nice. I didn't have it on my list, but I saw a couple of people calling it out in the chat room here. And yeah, this thing was actually pretty good yesterday, guys. Took off nicely, then just kind of hung out up here for a little bit. This morning, they have 971,000 shares traded. And I got to say, their pre-market action looks a lot better than some of the stuff I have here. So I know I have a lot on this list, but I'm going to add this one here because I think this could at least be on our main list, or at least a possible. There's some stuff here that definitely is going to take the backseat this morning. All right, so Envis is good. We have that one. LLI missed revenues. Yeah. LOY, excuse me. That one, the issue with this one is how it trades at times. So just be careful. Look out for that spread. It is a very difficult stock to trade, at least for me. So just be careful on that. They're definitely play with that gap down and 173,000 shares traded right now. So that's pretty good there. Apple, we do have DKNG. The issue with DKNG is just the movements at time. They're doing good this morning. They're up 3%, 253. Their price action could be a little weird at times. So that's my issue with them. But I have to say they do look better than some of the other stuff I have here. So I'm going to put that on there. All right, heading down, guys. DKNG is good. AMC, continue play higher. Is this thing moving with just overall Wall Street bets type plays? Is that what it is? AMC here, they have great volume.
Other things.
Yeah, exactly. So they're up 2%. I don't.
This is one I mentioned last week. It's a potential short squeeze play.
Yeah. So we had a great day yesterday. So again, I'm not gonna add it on here, guys. I have some other stuff I'd rather watch this morning. You know what? Let's just take a look at. Let's just take a look at it. Let's see. All right, we'll have to stop here. Let me take a look at a few over on YouTube. We have a lot to go through today. As you can see, it's a lot on our gapping up list as things are doing well. DKNG, we do have. AMD is good. GE, yes, is a billion shares flow. Yeah, so it doesn't move a whole lot. SPLK, let's take a look at that one. I like the fact that we're calling out the same name. So a lot of the stuff that YouTube has thrown out, we looked at here in our chat already. SPLK, this is scary stuff. I mean, the volume is not there. I don't like the daily here, and you always look at the volume down here for the most part. They don't trade very well. Now, on any given day, you can have a catalyst that can completely wipe that and trade very well. But I just don't have no hopes for this, to be honest, on this one. The only thing that I like about it is just if you might be looking at this, is that we can possibly lose this level here and drop down, right? This has been a great level of support. So if we lose that, you can get a nice little run in continuation. But aside from that, this is not one that kind of fits what we're looking at. CCIV, we do have. Thank you for that one. NAKD, this one here, more of a penny stock. So yeah, we don't really look at those. LVS this morning. Oop, LVS, there we go. What do we have here? Volume is dead right now. So it's not a whole lot going on as far as activity. So I don't think this is really in play. Now, can it still move well if the market does something here? Yes, but this doesn't look good at all. What kind of company is this? Is this an airline? LVS?
Las Vegas Sands. Casino.
Okay. So this is with the betting, gambling type plays, right?
Yeah. I mean, all around it's reopening hotels, Vegas.
So guys, there's some other ones that are looking better for those type of plays. DKNG looks a lot better. If you want to trade that in that area, this will be the one to watch. There's another one we looked at too. Was it this one, GMBL? I forget, but there was another one we looked at, also looked at well. But DKNG is your stock to go to, man. This is going to have a lot more volume. It's going to trade well. And already today, it's looking pretty decent. So, all right, guys, thank you so much. We're going to stop here. Let's make sure to hit that thumbs up as we go through some of our community announcements. And then we'll come back and fine tune this list.
All right, buddy. Next page. I know it feels like Monday, but it's Tuesday. All right. Tonight, we're going to have Michael Noss, who is master of trade ideas and algos. He's going to be talking about the TI Strength algo. So be sure to come in and check that out. Next week, we've got Eamon, 5 p.m. special time, part 2 of his parabolic reversal strategy webinar. So check that out as well next week. All right. Then tomorrow night, 8 p.m., we've got our very own Dr. Katz. He is going to be talking to 2 traders from the community about psychological trading issues. That is in a town hall format kind of deal where he will discuss with them in front of the group, and we can all learn from their experiences. My apologies. If you want to participate in the member trade of the day, trade of the week, take a screenshot of your best trade of the day, mark it up with entries and exits, of course, and then any commentary you can add to the trade about why you took it and why you entered, exited, all that kind of stuff. Post it on Twitter, tagging at Bearable Traders, at MikeB_BBT, and at NormBBT. Also use the hashtags BBT family, day trading, and stock market. We will pick from all those for the trade of the day, and then the trade of the week is picked over the weekend from all the daily winners and announced on Monday on Twitter. If you're watching us on YouTube and haven't been in the chat, use the promo code premarket24. That'll get you a discount off the intro membership, which is 7 calendar days, 5 trading days in the chat. Also gives you access to the onboarding class. It's live every Monday night at 8 p.m., which is onboarding and technology with Carlos, Mike, Kyle. And then if you're looking to either upgrade your membership or become an elite member, use the promo code SPRING40 to get 40% off.
All right, thank you, Norm. All right, guys, let's get to it. I was looking at TSM here because someone mentioned this one, but the issue with this one, guys, it doesn't trade all that well. I believe it's foreign also. So again, the price action is just a little bit funky. So just keep in mind if you are going to be looking at this one. So all right, let's take a look here. We have let's scan through this because we have quite a bit here. TLRY looks interesting, guys, especially on the daily. I like this possible breakout here above 19. Mara Bitcoins is, it's got some good movements here. Let's see, kind of looking all right this morning. Neo is good. We'll take a look at that one. OCGN, I think this is very, very active. Whether we find support here or we find we drop down, I think it's going to be interesting overall. It's got great volume, down 5.1. SKLZ looking okay. Envis definitely in play. Apple in play, and AMD is looking okay. So let's fine tune this list. We're going to get rid of TRY. I think it looks interesting, but maybe it's a good possible. And then we have to fine tune our possibles list as well. So TRY will bring this down. We're going to do a little bit of shuffling here because there's so much we have on both lists. So Mara is good, very active action right at the moment. Neo's looking good. Pre-market's a little bit choppy right now, but let's see if, on the daily we can get some kind of breakout. So OCGN is good. SKLZ, I like this for a possible continuation, but I think there's some better stuff out here that we can look at. So I'm going to put as a possible. We'll bring it down. It's got great volume though. So we have Envis, we have Apple, and I do want to take a look at AMD here for a continuation. And if it trades the way it has been trading these couple of last 2 days, even this one here, it traded very well. Very, very well. We had a market drop. It kind of took everything down here, but for the most part, their intraday trading has been pretty nice. We're not getting these type of candles here where the daily's not moving a whole lot. You're getting some pretty nice wide candles here, which creates amazing movements for us. So that's good here. All right, we got a decent list. Let's take a look at our possibles list. Let's remove whatever's not looking good anymore. And we can even move up things like CCIV, I think could be a good one. I know it puts us over our 6 watch list here, but I think that one is pretty good. We want to do levels for that one. Tesla is a good possible. NNDM, wow, starting to get moving here. That's going to go on top of our possibles list. I still don't like the way it trades for the most part, but they got some good movement right now. So something breaking out, NNDM here, getting a little pop there. SKLZ, second possible here. TRY, good. Tesla. UPS, UPS is in play, but definitely very active, 9.4. I only have it as a possible because it can be difficult to trace. That's my only reason for moving that one down. ALDX, I don't like this one. Let's get rid of it. It's got great volume. The numbers are looking great. Pre-market is not, and I could be completely wrong, and this thing could take off and be the best thing since sliced bread, but I just don't like it. I don't like the way it's setting up right now in the pre-market. Cross, this one could be interesting. Got to be concerned with the spread on this and how this thing trades. The volume is very light. I'm concerned with keeping this on here, but if we do keep it on here, I am going to bring it down to, I know it's not a low flow stock, but you have to be careful. So I'm going to put it here next to our low flow. So we want to be cautious with the risk management on this one. Got to be very tight for that one. So GameStop is could be interesting. CHPT, no, let's get rid of that. DKNG, I like DKNG today, and AMC also could be interesting here. I think DKNG could be interesting, especially with the kind of reopening play today. Let's see if they can trade well. That's going to be the key with that. All right, we got some levels to go through. Let's start with Mara here. Right now, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days are doing a pretty good job towards the bottom and the top here. I'm just going to mark down the high of the pre-market, 35.45, so we'll throw a level there. So kind of getting a little bit of rejection at the moment. We know Bitcoin has been doing pretty decent after dropping nonstop. They're kind of getting a little bit of some relief towards the upside. So that's helping a lot of these companies kind of come back a little bit here. 37.84 above the highs and lows is going to be a good level as well. Great area of support, guys. Look at the daily. Tons of support at that level. So that's going to be important for Mara if we do decide to break out. Now, what's interesting on Mara, if you look at this, you're slamming against this pre-market high, 35.45, a couple of times here. So let's see, can we break out of that? That would be interesting. We do have some great levels towards the top that we can aim for. And then towards the bottom, I don't think you need to add any more, guys. Highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. Here is Neo. Volume is light, but the daily has been pretty neat on this. So let's get rid of these levels, put some fresh ones on here. Right now, the highs and lows are doing a pretty good job all around the price action, especially towards the bottom. I don't think you need to add anything more here. The only thing maybe you want to add is maybe this 42 level here where this they opened up, 41.98. Right, just to have something in between here, because if you do lose this previous day close, all the way to 41, that's a long stretch. You want to have something in between there. Again, this is a minor level. You got a couple of touches there, but it's not your previous day close. It's not your highs and lows, right? So just keep that in mind. Don't put too much weight on that one. Now, above the price action and the high of the pre-market, you do have a level right over here at 44.42, a couple of touches there, and of course over up here at 45. More around 45.69, a great level of resistance there as well. So let's see, Neo, lighter than usual volume, but we'll keep an eye on it. We know this can be explosive. A couple of great green days here in the last week or two. Here's OCGN, very active. I know the daily looks very wacky, but if you go into the intraday here, you're going to see some pretty good trading, actually. It was not that bad as far as the intraday action. Right now, we're trying to hold on to the low of yesterday. We did dip below it a little bit here at 1071, but we're trying to find support here. We did get a little bit of a squeeze here, but we're kind of slamming right back down to this area. We do have shares for short on this one, so this could be very interesting. Towards the bottom, we do have a level here at 970. We'll throw one on there, and then the low from 2 days ago over down here around 864. So let's keep an eye on it. Very active, 4.5, down 5.9. Try to get a squeeze going here. Let's see if we're going to make the support or not. We did yesterday. Let's see if today's going to be another day of that. Let's get rid of this level here, and we'll end with some new levels on here, guys. So 25.06, actually 25 to be exact, the low of the pre-market. The high of the pre-market at 31.14 this morning. So those are your levels there. Outside of that range, you don't have anything. That's your all-time highs because there is nothing else up there. And then towards the bottom, oh, that's what I had, that level there, 24. Okay, this is that previous high here that could become support. And then towards the bottom here, we have 21.21, a couple of days using that as resistance before slamming back down. So that's what we have on NVIS, guys. Very active, 10 million shares traded right now. Looking forward to this one's going to be a good one. Just be very careful, guys. If this one goes against you, you want to react very quick. You got to get out immediately. You got to follow your plan. There's no let's wait around and see what happens. This thing can flush or take off very fast. So if you find yourself in the wrong side of the trade, which happens, you wanna make sure you execute your risk management parachute immediately. Here's Apple, guys. Apple, let's get rid of. So actually, these levels look good. We went through these, yeah. So these levels look good. I'm just gonna mark the high of the pre-market, 135.74. We'll throw that on there, and I think we're pretty much set as far as Apple. And this will be a good one, guys, if the market, which let's take a quick look at now, if the SPY can get going here, stay green and push above that, 419, 418, 420. Apple's going to be a good one. I can see it already. Apple trades very well. It's been strong the last couple of days. Hoping for this one to get going here. AMD's also been strong, and high of the pre-market on AMD sitting at 86.21, so we'll put a level there. Then above that, we do have one right up here, 87.05, and then towards the bottom, you pretty much cover with the highs and lows of the last 2 trading days. But I will add this level here, 84.32, couple of days opening and closing right around that area, so you want to have that on there. And then below that, guys, you just got a ton of levels from the highs and lows from the last 2 trading days, so you're pretty much set there. CCIV, we did move this one up because again, it's getting some good volume here. High of the pre-market right now, 25. That's a good one. Couple of touches there as support and resistance. Above that, you do have a 26.12, and then another one all the way up here around 27.61 for CCIV. And then towards the bottom, previous day close. And you got this nice pop we had yesterday. But we're gonna do some levels on here. Great area support. Just look at the touches on here. 22.89, and then all the way down here 21.84. So pretty much set there for CCIV this morning. All right, guys, I think we got a pretty good list. Norm, anything new out there that you like as far as your list, or?
No, I'm still looking around at that, and I've been trading Memphis. Memphis,
Very
Elvis.
nice.
I don't know what to call it. I don't know what nickname I'm going to give this, but yeah.
This is hot, guys. This one is really hot. It was hot the last 2 days.
Just mind your share size. It's nuts.
Yes. You want to make your money here on the move, guys, not on the number of shares you take. So make your money on the move here. You could take, 150, 200, 300 shares, depending on what your size is. Everybody's different.
Maybe way too big for some people too. So
yeah, exactly. Don't,
you might take 10 shares.
Yeah, exactly. So don't focus on the numbers I'm throwing out, but just give you an example. You don't just take 1,000 shares, right? You could be down $1,000, 1,500, 2,000 easily on this stuff. So be careful with that. All right, let's take a look here. Let's start with our watch list. What do we have going on? Let's bring that over. Okay, let's see what our moderators are looking at this morning. So starting here, looks like Jerry is up first. We'll talk about the Austin meetup as well a little bit, and Norm will give you some updates on that in a second. But right now we have Jerry. He is looking at UPS, Microsoft, Starbucks, and V as possible earning plays, Apple, TRY, and GameStop on his list. No IPOs for today again, so that's 2 days back to back with nothing opening up. Dima is looking at Apple, MU, TRY, and SPCE. Mike is looking at Apple, GameStop, and Tesla on his list, and Thor, Envis, Apple, Microsoft, UPS, both on earnings. And here we have secondary list CCL, AMD, and Tesla this morning. Here's Tiffany. She's looking at Apple, Tesla, UPS, and a secondary, and DKNG, and also OCGN, all looking very good. And Andrew's list, Envis, Tesla, Microsoft, and ALDX on his list this morning. Peter's primary list, AMD, Envis, TRY. Secondary list, NSPR, UPS, OCGN this morning as well. So we got a pretty good list, guys. I think we got some stuff that's looking very well. It's a lot to choose from. So your list could look completely different than ours, and you can still have an amazing list. So looking forward to this market open. So just a couple of things, guys. Reminder, today we have the success webinar at 8 a.m. 8 p.m. Excuse me. And it's going to be Michael Nass from Trade Ideas, so do not miss on that. Come prepare with your trade ideas if you have one, or get to learn more about trade ideas.
Very nice, smart guy.
He is. If you look him up, you look at his background. This guy knows trading in and out. I forget the credentials he has, and I'll introduce him tonight. Where this guy knows his stuff when it comes to trading, man. So looking forward to seeing that. Here's Brian with his list. A little break here. He's coming in with Envis, Billy, Tesla, and MT this morning. And then Norm, we want to give a little bit of a update on the meetup you're having down in your town.
Yes, sorry about the dogs barking. I think my housekeeper just got here. So apologies on the noise there. Anyway, meetup. So the 6th, May 6th, we are having a meetup. Austin, Texas. I will be there. Andrew will be there. It's May 6th, Abiel, is what I've been told, not May 7th. Unless somebody's told me, unless there's something to the contrary, it's May 6th from my understanding. Anyway, that'll be in Austin. I'll be there. Andrew will be there. And Mike will be there, I think. So yes, at least that's who I know of so far. And I'll get more info. If anybody wants to reach out down in that area, we had a great meetup last time. You can email me. My email. You guys can type it in the room. Norm at Bear Bull Traders, and we can get something together. I'll have more info in the next day or so.
All right, excellent, guys. So be on the lookout for that.
Be sure to RSVP in the forums. AB will post the link. We'll get the date corrected, and we'll have a great time.
Yeah, and
come have a drink on us.
If you're on YouTube, you do not have to be a member to attend. So definitely. You can RSVP as well. We'd love to see you there and kind of get to meet the team. Guys, thank you so much for joining us here. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. It really helps Norm and I and the whole entire pre-market show and Jared as well. We really, really appreciate it. So hit that thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and we'd love to see you here tomorrow and the rest of the week. We're live every Monday through Friday. So now we're going to continue with our members here in our chat room. Andrew and Brian are up next. I think Andrew's trading still from his computer and hopefully not from the floor of his hotel this time like he did yesterday, though he did very well. So he might just continue to do that same process. It worked out well for him yesterday. So take care, guys. Trade safe, and we'll continue here in our chat room. Have a good one, everyone.
Take care, guys. Trade safe.